Hey book besties, it's Gracie and welcome back to another What I Read This Month reading wrap up. I cannot even believe this is the third one of the year and that it's already April. This year is moving by so fast. I read 13 books in the month of March. This month was amazing in terms of reads. I don't really think I had many books I didn't like. I think only 2 books that I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but oh my goodness, I feel like we just have to dive right into it. This is spoiler free for y'all. Just gonna give my thoughts and feelings about the book that I'm talking about, little description, little backstory on what's going on. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Gracie. I do travel, lifestyle, and these reading wrap ups every single month because I absolutely love to read. I love to listen to audiobooks and read physical books or Kindle books, library books, whatever it is, all of the reading. It is just become one of my favorite things in the last year and a half, and I love sharing it with you guys too. So if you're new here, make sure that you subscribe down below so you don't miss any travel and fun videos as well as these reading wrap-ups. Plus, you guys can follow me on my other social medias to stay more up to date with what I'm doing. I also post my yes, no, or maybe version of the books that I read every month, and I posted a video for my top 3 every month, both on TikTok and Instagram Reels. So without further ado, we have a lot of books to talk about. I will just say right off the bat, I got my wisdom teeth out a week ago today, so this video is a little late because I was letting myself recover as best as I can. My mouth still feels like there's stuff in it and talking is a little difficult, so if this video is shorter than normal, I'm not sure. My jaw is a little sore getting used to moving the way that it normally does after not really having moved it much the last week. So just to preface, just putting that out there that I may need a massage my jaw in between talking about every single book. But alas, we're gonna get it done. We're gonna get through with it. Oh, and one more thing, you guys can add me on Goodreads. I will have it linked in the description of this video. I love to see what you're reading. You can also see what I'm reading on there. I add everybody back as a friend and I will have the link to go check it out. There on Goodreads, you can see everything that I read in real time. I log every book when I start it, when I finish, the stars that I give the book, and of course I'll have the Goodreads rating on the screen when I'm talking about the book so that you guys can see sort of what I thought about this book. And I just love to have you guys on there. You inspire me so much in what I read too. So let's be friends on Goodreads. And now without further ado, let's get into the reading wrap up. Already after that intro, I feel like I need to massage my jaw. Drinking an electrolyte drink. So good. I think it's like pink lemon, no, raspberry flavored. Well, this is the book that was on the top of the stack, so I feel like we have to start with it. This is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. This book is a thick book. I listened to this as an audiobook and I want to say it was about 19 hours. I could be mistaken. Maybe it was a little shorter than that, but let me tell you, this was the longest reading time of the month. I think I listened to this audiobook for like 22 days. I had to recheck it out from the library to finish the last couple hours of this book. It won a Pulitzer Prize, which drew me in. I love reading awarded books. I love reading highly rated books, which this one is. I just don't think I clicked with it very well. I'm not sure if it's because it took me so long to get through this book or the fact that the narrator wasn't exactly my favorite. Super strong sort of country accent, which definitely goes along with the book and with Demon. It's got a harsh setting. It's got heavy topics. It really leans into Demon's life from the time that he was a young boy to growing up. It sort of is a through the age novel. I think I ended up giving this a 3 just because I wasn't obsessed with it, and I just think that maybe this wasn't the kind of book that I was ready to be listening to yet. Again, super heavy book. There's a lot of drug use and horrible situations, but I do think that the writing was really well done. I will tell you a little bit about this book, but let me just tell you, this is not a book that you're gonna want to read on the beach. Demon Copperhead is the story of a boy born to a teenage single mother in a single-wide trailer with no assets beyond his dead father's good looks and copper-colored hair, a caustic wit, and fierce talent for survival. In a plot that never pauses for breath, relayed in his own unsparing voice, Demon braves the modern perils of foster care, child labor, derelict schools, athletic success, addiction, disastrous loves, and crushing losses. Through it all, he reckons with his own invisibility in a popular culture where even the superheroes have abandoned rural people in favor of cities. Demon Copperhead speaks for a new generation of lost boys and all those born into beautiful, cursed places they can't imagine leaving behind. That sums it up very well. Sometimes I think the back of the book, I'm like, oh, that's not really what I would say to describe that book, but spot on. Really heavy, but very well done. I just don't think maybe I was in the right space to listen to this, and maybe I would have had a better time reading this book. But if you're ready to have your heart wrenched, this is what I would pick up. On to lighter things. A cute little book that had me giggling and kicking my feet the entire time reading it is Alex Astor's Summer in the City. I've never read one of her books before. I didn't really know what to expect. It's a small book. I flew through this. I don't even think it took me 2 full days to read this book because it was so easy to read. I couldn't put it down. Such a sweet romance set in New York City. And of course, all the feels reading this book about Elle and Parker. Plus, who does not love a billionaire boyfriend trope? I love a rich man in a book like this who has money to just do the craziest things. A little unrealistic, but also in this world, pretty realistic. If you were to meet somebody like Parker, I'll read you a bit about this book, but giggling, kicking my feet, like this is your next beach read. I thought it was so well done. I actually enjoyed this book more than I enjoy most Emily Henry books. I know people are like, Emily Henry, the ultimate beach read romance girl. No, like this book is gonna give Emily Henry a run for her money. It truly was so good. And plus, who doesn't love these cute little sprayed edges? Apparently there's different sprayed edges depending on where you get it or different insides. I'm not really sure, but I just got my book off Amazon. 27-year-old screenwriter Elle has the chance of a lifetime to write a big budget movie set in New York City. The only problem? She's had writer's block for months and her screenplay is due at the end of summer. In a desperate attempt to get inspiration, Elle ends back up in the city she swore she would never return to, in an apartment she could never afford. It's the perfect place to write her screenplay until she realizes her new neighbor is tech billionaire bachelor Parker Warren, her stairwell hookup from 2 years ago. It's been a lovers to enemies situation ever since. When seeing him again turns into a full night of hate-fueled writing, Elle realizes her enemy/twisted muse just might be the key to finishing her screenplay, if she can stand being around her polar opposite. She writes anonymously and he's on the cover of every business magazine. He frequents fancy red carpeted events and she doesn't like leaving her emotional support 5-block radius. One summer, one wall apart, he needs to fake a buzzy relationship during his company's precarious acquisition. She needs to write a movie around a list of NYC locations. Both need a break from their unrelenting schedules and a chance to rediscover the skyscraper glimmering pizza crusted sunlit charms of the city. Summers always end and so will this agreement. It's all pretend. Promise. Until it isn't. So good, so good. If you want to be giggling, kicking your feet, all the things, just like you're rooting for these characters so hard, you're loving every second of all the cheesy New York stuff that they're doing, this is the book to pick up. This is a romance book I feel tricked into reading, literally tricked. First of all, this cover, when I ended up getting it in the mail, is different from the purple cover you see everywhere, so this cover may not look familiar to you. Here's what it's supposed to look like, or what I've seen it as a cover of every book when people talk about it, is Shark Heart. Maybe this is a new cover version of it. I don't care what it is. I feel so scammed. I've seen so many TikToks and book talk raving about this book, Shark Heart, as romance. I thought it was so weird. Maybe I just don't have the creative depth to have understood what was happening. Like I get the moral of the story. Don't get me wrong. Once you finish this book, you understand what the author's getting at, but like I just did not enjoy getting there. I was like, what am I reading? Like I could be reading any other book this size and be happier, but yeah, I definitely felt tricked into this one. Strange overall, just really strange. I also went into this with a little bit of an open mind, aka like not really knowing what was going on. Big mistake. That happens to me sometimes. I usually like to go into a book surprised. Like watching this kind of video that I make is not exactly my favorite thing to do because I don't really want to know what's going on, but most people do. And I think I need to start getting like a little bit of a synopsis because then I'll stop wasting my time on books like this, because I think I'd read the back cover and go, I don't really care that everyone's talking about it so much. It doesn't sound like something I'd be interested in, because not everybody likes the same books. I get it. Summer in the City, cheesy romance. Who doesn't love a cheesy romance book? But there are just other things that not everybody has to love this book, and I'm just one of those people. I think I also gave it 3 stars because I did see what the author was doing, but I voluntarily would never pick up this book again. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to read the back cover. I'm like reliving the fact that I was sitting there going, what? It all ends up making sense. But for Lewis and Wren, their first year of marriage will be their last. A few weeks after their wedding, Lewis receives a rare diagnosis. He will retain most of his consciousness, memories, and intellect, but his physical body will gradually transform into a great white shark. Like, if I would have read that, I'm like, no, done. It gets better. As Lewis develops the features and impulses of one of the most predatory creatures in the ocean, his complicated artist's heart struggles to make peace with his unfulfilled dreams. At first, Wren internally resists her husband's fate. Is there a way for them to be together after Lewis changes? Then, a glimpse of his developing carnivorous nature activates long repressed memories for Wren. As her past and present collide, Wren is forced to make an impossible, extraordinary choice. Yep, you heard that right. The male turns into a great white shark. So you also have to go into this book envisioning that there's there's a world where people have these genetic mutations that they turn into animals, and apparently a great white shark is one of the rare ones. Again, there are themes of love, loss, grief, healing, all kinds of stuff in this book, but I couldn't get over the fact that he was turning into a great white shark. I should have gotten it from Shark Heart. But yeah, I did not really enjoy this book so much. I will not judge you if you liked it. I was not ready to read this, and I also don't think I ever would be. So I read it, it's done, but I wouldn't suggest. Every morning when I wake up, I've been incorporating into my morning routine reading a nonfiction book. I usually read like 2 chapters, 20 pages, 25 pages, whatever that ends up amounting to be. And this month I read 2 nonfiction books over the course of my mornings, and I'm gonna go over those really quick because you're probably not really watching this video for nonfiction books, but I'm gonna throw them in there because they are part of the 13. First one I read was The Art of Showing Up. This one I actually found at a thrift store, so it did have somebody's writings in it in the beginning, but it looks like this person just did not finish this book because only really the first couple of pages had highlights and circles and stuff. I wouldn't exactly recommend this book. It's supposed to be how you can show up for yourself and for others, how not to be a flaky friend, how to not beat yourself up, break yourself down, how to just essentially be a better friend for yourself and a better friend for your friends. And I think that this could have been an email. I want to know when this book is from because I felt like some of this was outdated. Again, I saw this at a thrift store and it was $1 and I was like, I'm gonna get that. Oh, 2020. In our building we have like a little community free library, and I'm gonna leave it in there because somebody might enjoy it. But I wouldn't say like, oh, if you're gonna read one nonfiction book, it better be this one. I didn't think it was that amazing, and that's that. And then the second book that I read this month, I actually have heard about for a really long time, and I've seen so many people read this book, and it's a huge New York Times bestseller, over 1 million copies sold. You are a bad, I don't really curse, but I'll say it, you are a badass. I just felt like I gleaned so much information from this book. This is one that's gonna stay on my shelf so I can remind myself how skilled I am, how amazing I am. This was one of those self-help books that I felt like actually worked, or actually I really enjoyed what I was reading with this book. I thought that the author was hilarious. I thought that it was so well written, really easily digestible, and you need to stop doubting yourself and to just feel amazing. I just like, oh, love reading this, and how to have a good money mindset. And I love at the end of every chapter she says to love yourself. So I think that this was a really good read for me. I'm basically reading these nonfiction books in the morning to try and improve my life in some way or another. The rest of my day is spent working, running around, doing errands, laundry, like so focused on so many different life tasks that I feel like the morning when I do my Bible study and my reading, that's time for me to improve as a human in my relationship with God and my relationship with myself. And so I like to pick books that are going to inspire me and actually change me. I don't really want any fluff in the morning, I guess, and I've just started to pick up books and pick topics of things that I think sound interesting or that I would love to improve in. I don't think I really doubt myself so often, but I think everyone's got that little self-doubt or that little voice in them that says you can't do it, and I like to remind myself every day, I am great. I am destined for greatness. God has put me on this earth for a reason, and I think that this was just one of those books where I was like, yes. I woke up in the morning excited to read this book and read about my potential and all these other things, so it sounds cheesy, but I do think it was a great start to my mornings, and I would recommend this one. We're going to briefly cover this book, Rebel Witch. It is the second book in the Crimson Moth series after Heartless Hunter. So if you've not read Heartless Hunter, don't read Rebel Witch. This came out in February, but I didn't have time to read it in February, so I read it in the month of March. I think it might have been one of the first books that I read in the month. I'm not going to read anything about this book. I'm just going to tell you I loved it. It's ending to the duology. I think it was really well done. Pretty sure I gave it 4 stars. The series was really, really good. I loved the premise of it, and I didn't really expect the ending. You do, but you don't, and the things along the way were very, very, very good. So Rebel Witch, I liked this series a lot. It's a completed duology now that this book is out, so I would recommend you going and picking this up if you're into romantasy books. Speaking of romantasy or fantasy books, I read 2 more this month. This one is called Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I've been so excited to read this book. It is inspired by the legend of the Chinese moon goddess, which I think is so interesting. It's a duology. I haven't read the second book yet, but this was a debut fantasy novel, and I thought it was really well done. There are a lot of Chinese names in here, but I didn't think they were hard to pronounce inside my head because I read this book, and I'm excited to see what happens in the second book. I feel like so much ground is covered in this book. So much ground is covered, and every time I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're like getting through all of these times and all of these changes. I thought the protagonist Xingyin was amazing. I was like, you go girl. Almost sort of Mulan-esque in some of the things that have happened. It's not based on Mulan, one, but I just thought that this book was really well done. I'll read you a little bit of the back. Do not be turned off by some of these Chinese fantasies. I feel like these books don't get talked about enough. I mean, this book specifically has like 100,000 plus Goodreads reviews. But for example, one of my favorite reads from last year, it just like hit me so hard. The Night That Ends with Fire also has a second book coming out this year. I feel like that's such an underrated book because it's got all these Chinese names. I'm like, no, you guys, the writing is impeccable. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. I'll read you the back about Xing Yin and the daughter of the moon goddess. Well, she is the daughter of the moon goddess. Growing up on the moon, Xing Yin is accustomed to solitude, unaware that she is being hidden from the feared celestial emperor who exiled her mother for stealing his elixir of immortality. But when Xing Yin's magic flares and her existence is discovered, she is forced to flee her home, leaving her mother behind. Alone, powerless, and afraid, she makes her way to the celestial kingdom, a land of wonder and secrets. Disguising her identity, she seizes an opportunity to learn alongside the emperor's son, mastering archery and magic even as passion flames between her and the prince. To save her mother, Xing Yin embarks on a perilous quest, confronting legendary creatures and vicious enemies across the earth and skies. However, when treachery looms and forbidden magic threatens the kingdom, she must challenge the ruthless celestial emperor for her dream, striking a dangerous bargain in which she is torn between losing all she loves and plunging the realm into chaos. Daughter of the Moon Goddess begins an enchanting romantic duology that weaves ancient Chinese mythology into a sweeping adventure of immortals and magic, of loss and sacrifice, where love vies with honor, dreams are fought with betrayal, and hope emerges triumphant. So dang good. Go give it a read. How did I feel about Blood of Hercules? Another book talk book. How do I get myself roped into this? I'm not sure. A lot of people complain about this book and how it's written in like Gen Z speak, first of all. And the second complaint that I've seen a lot of is that she doesn't get the Greek mythology correct. I'm not a Greek mythology aficionado. Like, I have no idea who people are and what. I mean, like, I know Persephone, Hades, like, I know those stories, but not down to a T where people are like, that's wrong, this is wrong, that's wrong. So those things didn't really bother me. I actually thought for the most part, there were parts that annoyed me. For the most part, it read pretty well, right? Like, I wasn't annoyed in a general sense of reading this book, but what happened in this book? You know when you're rooting for the main character and her love interests and who she falls in love with, and you're just like, oh, he's such a good guy. Like, I love that she's going for him. That's just not what's happening. Yeah, I'm not gonna say too much more, but I don't really read these like mafia books or the super dark books where the girl ends up being with some like terrible, scary person. So when the things that happen in this book I was so thrown off. I still enjoyed it though. I did end up giving it 3.5 stars, maybe 4 stars, because I was entertained. So my point system isn't perfect. If I'm entertained, if I like a book, even if I'm like, what the heck am I reading? But I'm entertained and I like it, I'm still gonna give it a good rating. But if I'm like, what the heck am I reading? This is terrible. Obviously bad review, but thoroughly enjoyed it. But I was like, what? This was one of the best books I've read in a while that wasn't a fantasy. I feel like lately, a lot of my 5-star reads lately, not all, are fantasy. Like, because I just love the world building. I think you have to be so intricate in your writing to write a fantasy, which usually ups the scale in my mind. I don't think I ended up giving this 5 stars because of a few things, but still, like 4.5, like almost perfect. So I guess that it wasn't really a 5-star read, but still, oh my gosh. I listened to this as an audiobook until about the last 3 hours or so of the audiobook. I was listening to the audiobook while reading the book, like sped up, like 2 times audio while I was reading this, because it was honestly the last day of the month. I was sitting down at night and I was like, oh, I finished all my books. I didn't want to start a new book, but I was listening to this on audio and I can't just like sit there and listen to an audiobook. It's like if I'm driving or if I'm doing something, then I can focus. So I put the audiobook in because I love the Australian narrators. And I was reading along with the book as I was listening to it. Wow, so well done. I did not think it was gonna end up how it ended up. I actually audibly, I was sitting on the couch and I go, and Austin was like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I can't tell you, like, it's just something happened in my book. It would take too long to explain. So well done, so well done. And extra points if you listen to the very nice Australian voices that narrate this book. I was like, oh yeah, I like this. Okay, enough said. I'm gonna read you about Rowan and the salts because wow. Also, one thing to note, I was in the elevator literally today and some guy came in and he had this briefcase duffel bag thing. Embroidered onto it was the name Shearwater. Okay, what's the island that this book takes place on? Shearwater. I was like, whoa, I'm about to go talk about this book today. And that, like, anyway, I don't know what his briefcase was for, but I was like, wow, that's really weird because this is a remote island off the coast of Antarctica and Australia, or like between the two. Dominic Salt and his 3 children are caretakers of Shearwater, a tiny island not far from Antarctica. Home to the world's largest seed bank, Shearwater was once full of researchers, but with sea levels rising, the Salts are now its final inhabitants. Until, during the worst storm the island has ever seen, a woman mysteriously washes ashore. Isolation has taken its toll on the Salts, but as they nurse the woman, Rowan, back to strength, it begins to feel like she must be what they need. Rowan, long accustomed to protecting herself, starts imagining a future where she could belong to someone again. But Rowan isn't telling the whole truth about why she set out for Shearwater, and when she discovers sabotaged radios and a freshly dug grave, she realizes Dominic is keeping his own secrets. As the storms on Shearwater gather force, they must all decide if they can trust one another enough to protect the precious seeds in their care before it's too late, and if they can finally put the tragedies of the past behind them to create something new together. A novel of breathtaking twist, dizzying beauty, and ferocious love, Wild Dark Shore is about the impossible choices we make to protect the people we love, even as the world around us disappears. Oh, so good. I think I will need to read this again someday. Like my little baby. Like, I'm gonna recommend this book to my mom. I flew through this book. Forget Me Not, Julie Soto. Kicking, screaming, giggling, all of it again. About Amma, the wedding planner, and a grumpy florist that she has to work with. I just love an enemies to lovers. I really do. Oh, and of course, weddings, flowers, and the romance. It's perfect. It's beautiful. You can fly through this on the beach. I think the cover gives a little moody, but it's not really that moody. And literally, I was like, Amma is a wedding planner who doesn't believe in marriage, but weddings, they're amazing. Elliot Bloom is a brooding florist who hates owning a flower shop until a certain bright-eyed, donut-loving workaholic shows up at his door. Once upon a time, they collaborated on events by day and by night. Amma traced the intricate flower tattoos etched along his body. Then Amma shattered his heart and never spoke to Elliot again. Now they're working on an event that could make or break both of their careers, except neither of them has gotten over what happened 2 years ago. Things are not helped by the 2 brides who see the obvious chemistry between Amma and Elliot and are determined to set them up, not knowing their complicated history. But as the wedding takes on a life of its own, Amma and Elliot are about to discover that some things can survive a complete catastrophe. Yep. So good. Obviously, it culminates with the wedding at the end, and you just have to see what happens. So good. So good. I feel like this cover is not giving beach read, but it's beach read for sure. Or an inside your house read. It's a romance book, but I'm just saying, like, don't be fooled. You can definitely have that as a beach read. Lane Fargo's The Favorites. Wow. Another hard-hitting book. Romance, complicated times, family life. Oh my gosh. Harsh upbringings, competitive Olympic figure skating, betrayal. I mean, all of it. The drama. This book brings the drama, and I lived for every second of it. Like, this needs to be a movie ASAP, like an Ice Princess movie. Wow. This book, what I love is that usually after every chapter, it's going back and it's almost written like a documentary. This book is almost written like a documentary where you have these pieces in between the chapters where they're like, oh, but we didn't know what was going on. Like some of the side characters in the book just talking about, like, I don't know how to really explain it without giving it away, but there's obvious chapters, and then there's parts of the book where it's like almost like a transcript here of different people talking about what you were reading or what was going on in the past tense. So obviously, like, again, documentary style, like showing what was going on. Somebody being like, oh, and this was happening at this time, or we didn't know what was going on. And wow. All I have to say is you gotta pick this one up. You have to pick this one up. I forgot, this one might be one of my favorites from the month too. I did my top 3 and I kind of forgot how amazing this book was. Oh, I guess I'll read it to you. Do you guys like when I read the inside cover? You're like, that's a waste of your time? I feel like I want to talk so much about these books, but I really don't want to give things away, because that's what I did when I first started making these videos, and people were like, stop spoiling. And I'm like, I didn't mean to. Maybe I just do spoiler videos. I don't know. You guys let me know. Anyway, she might not have a famous name, funding, or her family's support, but Katerina Shaw has always known that she was destined to become an Olympic skater. When she met Heath Rocha, a lonely kid, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this last name right, but you'll get the point. When she meets Heath Rocha, a lonely kid stuck in the foster care system, their instant connection makes them a formidable inseparable duo on the ice, clinging to skating and each other to escape their turbulent lives. Kat and Heath go from childhood sweethearts to champion ice skaters, captivating the world with their scorching chemistry, rebellious style, and roller coaster relationship, until a shocking incident at the Olympic Games brings their partnership to a sudden end. As the 10-year anniversary of their final skate approaches, an unauthorized documentary reignites the public fascination with Sean Rocha, claiming to uncover the real story through interviews with their closest friends and fiercest rivals. Kat wants nothing to do with the documentary, but she can't stand the thought of someone else defining her legacy. So after a decade of silence, she's telling her story, from the childhood tragedies that created her all-consuming bond with Heath to the clash of desires that tore them apart. Sensational rumors have haunted their every step for years, but the truth may be even more shocking than the headlines. Oh, so good. I really enjoyed this book. Like I said, it brought the drama. Another audiobook that hit hard, and I think it also, especially because of the narration, Broken Country, by Claire Leslie Hall. This was one of my top 3 for the month. I don't know if it was even more moving because I was listening to this book or what it was, but I was captivated from start to finish. It wasn't a long audiobook, I think less than 9 hours, and page-wise, it is 307 in the acknowledgement, so about 300 pages for this book. But wow, there's murder mysteries, twists, it's thrilling. There's murder mystery, thriller, twist, heartbreak, gut-wrenching things. Also a little bit of happiness here and there, and just wow, all of it. The whodunit at the end, oh, totally unexpected. Let me not spoil it for you. Farmer is dead. He is dead, and all anyone wants to know is who killed him. Beth and her gentle, kind husband Frank are happily married, though their relationship relies on the past staying buried. But when Beth's brother-in-law shoots a dog going after their sheep, Beth doesn't realize that the gunshot will alter the course of their lives. The dog belonged to none other than Gabriel Wolf, the man Beth loved as a teenager, the man who broke her heart years ago. Gabriel has returned to the village with his young son Leo, a boy who reminds Beth very much of her own son, who died a few years earlier in the tragic accident. As Beth is pulled back into Gabriel's life, tensions around the village rise, and dangerous secrets and latent jealousies from the past resurface, this time with deadly consequences. Beth is forced to choose between the woman she once was and the woman she has become. A sweeping love story with the pace and twists of a thriller, Broken Country is a novel of simmering passion, impossible choices, and explosive consequences that toggles between the past and present to explore the far-reaching legacy of first love. That's it. That's the summary. Such a good one. Such a good one. Really was blown away by this audiobook, by the writing, by the tension. I could not stop listening to it. I think I might have listened to it in a day or two. It was so quick because I was like, I need to know what's going on in this book. Kind of like a book you can't put down, but like an audiobook that you can't stop listening to. That's how I felt about this one. And this is it. We're on the last one, The House of Eve. I've been wanting to read this book for so long. Oh, look, another Reese's book club. So was the last one. And I just hadn't gotten around to it and finally got it through the library. Oh, so many like heart-wrenching books this month. So many moving and touching stories, and this surely is one of them. In 1950s Philadelphia, 15-year-old Ruby Pearsall is on track to becoming the first in her family to attend college, but a taboo love affair threatens to pull her back down into the poverty and desperation that has been passed on to her like a birthright. Eleanor Quarles arrives in Washington, D.C. with ambition and secrets. When she meets the handsome William Pride at Howard University, they fall madly in love. But William hails from one of D.C.'s elite wealthy black families, and his parents don't just let anyone into their fold. Eleanor hopes that a baby will make her finally feel at home in William's family and grant her the life she's been searching for. But having a baby and fitting in is easier said than done. With their stories colliding in the most unexpected of ways, Ruby and Eleanor will both make decisions that change the trajectory of their lives. And I will just tell you, literally so many gut-wrenching parts of this book, but the storytelling was so vivid, was so amazing. I really felt like I was there for some of it, and it truly was a gripping book that I enjoyed so much. This is House of Eve, and you should pick it up. And those are the 13 books I read in the month of March. So many good reads, aside from the one nonfiction book and Shark Heart, and kind of Blood of Hercules, although I was entertained, just thrown off by that book. Every book was an amazing read, and I'm just so happy that I have these stories and these colorful illustrations and pictures in my head from being able to experience these books. Reading has just opened up so much more creativity for me, just so much enjoyment in the fact that I was sitting on the couch the other night. What book was I reading? I don't remember which one it was. I think it was Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I was thinking like, oh man, like I wish now I could just go watch a movie of this book because it was so good. You don't want to just immediately immediately reread a book, but just to feel like so many, or if not all of these books truly could turn into blockbuster movies that would do so well. That's how you know that the writing is so good, is when you wish that somebody was smart enough to pick up a movie from the book that you're reading. I really I have nothing to say but that I've read such good books this last month, and I hope the trend just continues. There's a lot of new releases I'm excited for April. Abby Jimenez's book is releasing April 1st. Okay, it's April 3rd and I finished the book yesterday. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Lauren Roberts' book is coming out, the third book in the Powerless trilogy, so I'm excited to see how that ends up. I feel like a few more books that are on my April wish list, and then into May, more books. We're not going to get into that right now because this is still April and really finishing up March reads. But I have such a fun TBR, and that's also on my Goodreads, so don't forget to friend me on there because I just love having you guys all on there. And if you want to shop any of the books that I've talked about, I do have them all linked on my Amazon storefront. Always on my Amazon storefront, you'll find each month and all the books that I have read that month. So if you're ever also wondering what I've read and you just want to quickly shop it and put it on your Kindle or get the book sent to your door, you can do that as well, and that's always linked in the description. If there are any other reading book videos that you want from me, just let me know in the comments down below. I'm open to trying some new things, especially when it comes to reading, because I'm just so dang passionate about it. I love you guys so much. If nobody has told you today, I am so proud of you guys. Subscribe down below so you don't miss any more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!